tell you here on the show exactly how the media works. So here's the background to this latest media bashing of our current British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and in particular by someone who simply should know better. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the heart of London as ever. Lovely to see you today. And yes, this particular story, as you know, if you're across politics, Westminster, international news, you'll know that our current British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is going through absolute difficulties right now. Now, whether you believe what he says or not or whatever, let's not forget, he lost his mother in this last year. He battled COVID. And of course, his young baby recently battled COVID. So he's not had the best of it. All the while battling through with very disgruntled, disobedient civil servants, people that he gave jobs to, that sort of stuff. There are no friends in politics, as we've often said here on the show. Interesting to note, though, now that another petulant person has come to the fore. We're talking the once esteemed BBC broadcaster Andrew Neil, who took his toys out the pram simply because, of course, the BBC decided they didn't wish to continue with what he considered to be a primetime show on BBC Two. So off he went to set up GB News, but that didn't last long either. That's because, of course, he felt that he wasn't treated as an international star. If you recall the account that he gave to the tabloid newspaper, the Daily Mail, it's laughable really, because he said he only calmed down as he took the first sips of chilled champagne on a private jet. What planet are these people on? You know what I'm saying? Oh, goodness. But he's now back. Now, he's decided that he wants to return in front of the camera. So Channel 4, yes, the beleaguered Channel 4 with very few viewers, have decided that Andrew Neil is the best placed person, should say, to actually now make a documentary all about Boris's battles. And how, of course, he's disappeared and walked off interviews, that sort of stuff. Now, as I say, is Mr. Neil the absolute best person to do this, having abandoned the fledgling GB News channel himself when they could have really done with his presence? Is he really the person to now start attacking Boris? Now, I've produced a couple of shows for Mr. Neil, let me tell you. And when Mr. Johnson, our Prime Minister, failed to turn up for an interview, Mr. Neil decided to do a laborious and lengthy monologue as to why he'd been let down. Now, let's just put this into perspective. Mr. Neil was a TV host. He'd hired a TV studio, mine, to, of course, interview the current British Prime Minister. And he got really angry when Mr. Johnson didn't turn up. Could it be, though, that in fact the Prime Minister was rather busy running a country, not simply sat opposite someone in a chair, being fed the questions via an earpiece, and of course having all the arsenal in front of him on an auto cue? I'm not defending Mr. Johnson in any way, but this is how media works. The media has the power to make the masses, if you like, shape their opinion of a person. But let's not forget, when Mr. Neil sits down opposite anybody, there is a producer in his little earpiece just here telling him, ask this now, push him on this question, shut up about that. Plus the fact, out of camera range, there is a little monitor that also tells him the next question to move on to. So as we said before, even with Prince Andrew and of course the Newsnight person Emily Maitlis, she had everything in front of her and they have nothing in front of them. Do remember that when you see these attacks in the media against such people, because as ever we often say here on the show, we are fair and balanced, and we like that. And that's the reason why I'm sharing this sort of info with you. Oh, by the way, I don't have an earpiece and there's no monitor, believe me, underneath here. What I'm saying to you now is all in here. As ever, thank you so much for watching. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.